Hi, I'm Kirsty here for PokerHandRankings.co. Today we're going to learn how to play Texas Hold'em poker. To begin the game, the player to the left of the dealer places the small blind. This is half the minimum stake. And then the player to his left places the large blind. This is the minimum stake. Then everyone is dealt 2 cards. Everyone looks at their cards, and then the next player, Mr. Lego Man, decides whether to call by placing in the minimum bet, to raise by placing in somewhere between the minimum bet and the maximum, or to fold. Mr. Lego Man has decided he's got very nice cards and he's going to raise. So he puts in the minimum bet plus 1 extra army man. Now it's Woody's turn. Woody decides he doesn't like his cards, doesn't like his chances, so he folds. Now it's my turn. I'm going to call Lego Man's bet of 3 soldier men. Scrap decides to call as well. So he adds in 2 more men to make his bet equal to the other players. Finally, Potato Man decides to call. Now the players have bet an even stake. We move on to round 2, which begins with the flop. This is where the dealer reveals the first 3 community cards. The players can use any of the community cards plus their 2 whole cards to make up their hand. Starting with the player to the left of the dealer again. Scrap will now decide whether he wants to fold, check, which is where he doesn't bet anything and it moves on to the next player, or to call. Scrap is going to call the minimum stake, 2 soldiers. Now it moves on to Mr. Potato Head. Mr. Potato Head decides to fold. He doesn't like his chances. And then it moves on to Lego Man, who decides to call the 2 soldiers and raise an extra soldier. I decide I'm going to fold. Scrap calls the extra soldier. Everything's even and we move on to the 3rd round. This is called the turn, and the dealer reveals the 4th community card. Scrap decides to bet. Now after the turn, the stakes are raised to the maximum, so he puts in his 4 soldiers. Lego Man calls the 4 soldiers. Everything's even, so we move on to the next round. This is called the river, and the dealer reveals the 5th and final community card. Scrap loses his nerve and folds, which means Mr. Lego Man takes the pot. If Scrap had stayed in the game, once the bets were even, the hands are revealed and whoever has the strongest hand wins. And that